The Illuminati are planning to take over the world. The space aliens have arrived. Grab your hats. This is tinfoil hat time.
Welcome back to Switch to Linux for another tinfoil hat time. Well, today we are actually going to be talking about Estonia, the digital society. Of course, I covered a few months back, I covered a video talking about smart cities. So if you want to have a look at the future smart city video, take a look at the description down below. It will be in there when I'm done recording this video. But of course, the smart city is this transitional city where nothing is owned by anybody except, you know, the few wonderful corporations who have the privilege of owning everything. And every need is constantly taken care of. It's basically like a digital social society, which is kind of a very frightening, very interesting place where there is 0.0 privacy. Even leaving the cities into the country is kind of like against the law-ish. Sort of like if you want to envision something like the capital city in the Hunger Games. Everybody can monitor everybody. Everything is going on. And of course, the people at the top are the ones that control everything. And this is kind of a scary place. And I've been monitoring this and looking at this type of stuff as we start moving toward a world and a society which is very much focused on giving way too much private data. In fact, I'm even in the middle of needing to contact the IRS yesterday. It is so impossible to contact the IRS. I actually had to contact my local politicians to tell them I need to reach somebody at the IRS. How do you do that? And they're going to put me in contact with somebody, but it should not take a call to your congressman to get to the IRS when we are compelled to give money and we can't reach them on issues. And so this is kind of, I've been watching this trend go out as I look at all of the different trends. And in the IRS thing now, the best way, of course, is to use their online accounts, which, by the way, you can't get. And you have to have a cell phone that can receive an SMS message. Yes, the most insecure way of sending data, like raw text over the air. It cannot be a prepaid phone. It cannot be a Google Voice phone number. It has got to be one of the phones from a major carrier, period. Well, if you wanted evidence we're in a corporatocracy, there it is. I can't reach out to the IRS without that type of stuff. Of course, I got in there and like, okay, it might be worth the risk, so let's go ahead and try and do it. You walk through the process, and yeah, you can't sign up. It doesn't work. So the problem is we keep on giving up way too much data to Facebook. We keep on giving up way too much data to other social networks, way too much data on everything. I talked a little bit about the Microsoft issue yesterday with this new healthcare system they're trying to push, and Microsoft trying to push this new healthcare system with basically taking all of our data perpetually in the cloud. That is kind of a scary, scary situation and circumstance we're in. But this came across my radar a couple of weeks ago, and this will bring you chills. Estonia. Little country of Estonia has a population, I think, of 1.3 million, 1.3 million people. And Estonia, they are rebranding themselves as E-Estonia. Everything is E. They have developed a full digital society where everything is fully integrated with centralized databases with everything about you every individual agency has, and then they use this platform to share data between everything, and it is all mediated by your chip and pin enabled ID card. Let's have a look at Estonia's website, shall we? We have built a digital society, and so can you. Of course, in this digital society, you submit fingerprints. Oh, and by the way, before we dive in too deeply, anybody can become a resident of this. This is the E-Residency. You can become an E-resident of the Republic of Estonia. And this is open to anybody around the entire world right now, okay? So anybody in the entire world right now can actually become a member of this. And you basically have to issue your fingerprints, you link your bank accounts, you link your medical records, you link your your social accounts. They attempted to push in the ability to link in just online comments entirely, but that was eventually they had a little bit of kickback from that. Don't worry, they'll try again in a couple of years, if not sooner. But back to their main website, they have built a digital society. So of course they started with e-governance. Their entire government runs with an e-platform, an e-system. They established the ability to file your taxes electronically. They were like, yeah, we can file our taxes in 15 minutes. It depends on how easy your taxes are, you know. X-Road is their integrated database. So this has been going on for 17 years. They've had this ability for these databases to be constantly linking to each other. So even the police, they can look at your license plate number, link that to the person driving the car, and then see everything about you. They can see your health records. They can see if you've registered a weapon. They can see if you are wanted in any country. They can see if there is any reason to stop you whatsoever. They have the digital ID, which of course has some biometric components. You have voting and money transfer, of course, with your phone. Public safety, how exciting. They talk about blockchain here. This is actually disingenuous. Even the chief information officer of the country, yes, they have a CIO of their country, says, no, it's actually not blockchain. But the company that is behind these guys, guess what? It's a big company behind all this. Yep, that's where we're going. Corporatocracy. They are rebranding things as blockchain simply because that's a big name. You know, blockchain is a big word these days. E-health, this is when all of your wonderful medical records is all online in a centralized database and tied. And this, by the way, is why they're not blockchain. All of these agencies run centralized databases that this X-Road application allows them to interconnect. Okay. The only thing that is remotely blockchainy about their system is it's the hashes that they use. Well, like I said, the company behind all of their technology insists on rebranding everything to say blockchain because it's hip and trendy right now. And then, of course, they've launched a couple years ago, they launched E-Residency, so anybody can get an Estonia EID card and link all this stuff. And it's like, you can sign your documents by entering. It's kind of crazy. So that's kind of what they're up to. They have an ambitious future. Let's have a look at where they want to go. By the way, I heard about this in a discussion on the Bilderberg conference, which is terrifying enough and definitely worthy of tinfoil hattiness. I just don't know enough about it. But here is where their ambitious future is leading them to. A new digital nation. Cyber security, which is kind of funny. A data embassy. Intelligent transportation, reporting 3.0. Translation, same thing China's doing right now. Let's assign everybody a social media credit score. Or social credit score, I guess they call it. Over there in China, if you do things the government doesn't like, you just get put on a list where you can't fly, your kids can't attend private school, you can't buy property. You're just basically the low level scum that they want you to be because you made somebody mad by saying something on social media that maybe you shouldn't have said. See? Stay off of Facebook, yo. Cross-border data exchange. Sounds a whole lot like what our government's doing with that cloud law. Healthcare 4.0. Digital transformation in education, real-time economy, and industry 4.0. Let's have a look at healthcare 4.0. Ooh, we can click these and see them. Healthcare 4.0 is Estonia's future solution. Here are some key words to illustrate what the future may look like. First of all, empowerment. People will become more aware of those factors influencing their health, and each person can progressively become more responsible for managing their own health. In other words, all this kind of stuff's like you go in there to slide in your e-card because you have to have it to buy stuff because, you know, money is no longer a thing. And the thing's like, hey, fatso, you're a little overweight. Maybe you shouldn't buy 2 Snickers bars, you know? Second, mobility. Patients will be able to access information wherever they happen to be at a time of their choosing. In the future, Estonia will provide a point-of-care devices and equipments that patients can use themselves. So this is just getting scary. Finally, Estonia will provide global health accounts and introduce benefits of health procedures based on artificial intelligence. See what Industry 4.0 is. That seems fascinating too. Industry 4.0 type solutions could impact everything from how quality is monitored to how much how much effort goes into the supply chain. Several players in Estonia's ICT sector focus on Industry 4.0 development. At the center of their strategy is a concept called real-time factory, which, as the name suggests, allows managers to track key performance indications in real time, showing where improvements can be made, allowing entire factory to operate with one single integrated system. The Tallinn-based Sim Factory, for example, specializes in helping electronics manufacturers adopt real-time factory approach, give them all kinds of data-driven production that can streamline every aspect of operations. Wow. Estonia man 123 update found healthcare 4.1. Uh-oh. It crashes the whole system, no doubt. All right, let's go ahead and jump on up. Here's, of course, they talk about their solutions. Here's the building blocks, the e-identity. Of course, everything is done with this e-card. It's a chip and pin type card where everything goes into place. Interoperability services. So this is basically translation. Yeah, e-land register, population registry. So this is actually terrifying. Let's actually have a look at their video. This is a little terrifying.
Running a modern state is a data-centered endeavor. Ensuring the functioning of the state requires administering very large quantities of data. Estonia lacks a centralized or master database. Data is stored where it is created. Each agency administers its own data separately, and data is not duplicated. At the same time, state authorities and agencies need data outside their purviews in order to function. How can authorities securely exchange important data? First, the data must be easily accessible by the authorities that are authorized to use it. Second,
authorized to use it. That's a fascinating point, right? So authorized to use the data. How do you basically, and this is funny, as I'm reading through this whole website, and I read through this whole website here, they're making a whole lot of bold claims that cannot be made in this modern world, by the way.
the integrity of the data must be maintained. No third party should be able to make any changes to the data while it is in transit. Third, the data must remain confidential during its journey. It must be protected from the eyes of unauthorized parties. The X-Road is a data exchange platform that fulfills all three of these requirements. The X-Road helps authorities make work processes more convenient. Many activities can be automated, which frees employees to deal with matters that require human involvement. For the state, the X-Road, above all, makes it possible for authorities to efficiently exchange data among themselves. The X-Road helps the state see the big picture of how different authorities are connected to one another. The biggest beneficiaries of the X-Road are, of course, the citizens. They enjoy the benefits of a better functioning state and save all of the time they would otherwise spend submitting papers and forms. Cool.
Yeah, there is a wonderful benefit in the fact that we can't, even our modern systems, government systems, don't actually share that much data or are incompetent at it, and that's that I don't want them to be able to share that much data. I don't want as much data sharing as there currently is, and this is kind of the craziness of this whole thing. Just how this works, like everybody has their own databases and their system allows them to share the information infinitely faster. So yeah, so here's their showroom, peek inside the E-State, you know, all the different people who make all this kind of stuff happen. Oh, you know what? I don't think I showed you something else. This is terrifying here. Security and safety. Look at this, the E-Police. The E-Police is particularly exciting. So the E-Police, EPolice system is based on the principle that providing the best possible communication and coordination will lead to the most effective policing. This involves two main tools: a mobile workstation installed in each patrol car and positioning system that shows the headquarters, every officer's location, and status. The positioning system provides the operations center real-time information about the location and status of each patrol vehicle. The information is clearly displayed on a map, making it easier for commanders to send the closest vehicle whenever a call comes in, therefore improving response times. Mobile workstations are installed in every patrol car, providing officers in the field almost instantaneous access to vital information such as place of residence, photograph, telephone number, driving license data, owner/user, technical inspection information, and even whether the driver owns any registered weapons. In fact, the police could potentially access dozens of relevant databases, and the system is integrated with information system of Schengen Zone, allowing them to see if the vehicle is stolen or if the driver is wanted in another country. Earlier, these queries were handled over the radio and took about 15-20 minutes. Now they can take as little as 2 seconds. Now, this has some benefits in the emergency type situation where, we're trying to figure out who is the person that needs to call, who do they need to call. But the reality is, when there's an emergency going on, the police wait to call the family last because they don't want them there. This is too much information overkill. This is way too much information in the hands. So remember also back with that X-Roads, make sure only people who are authorized can get it. Well, apparently now every police officer on the force is authorized to get it. Everybody in the hospital can be authorized to get any piece of information. This is a breeding ground for rogue people who are potentially might be looking to profit. Maybe they're not making enough money other places. Who knows? All right. So that's kind of how they work. Of course, they have the E-Court and E-Law. Love this whole E-trend they have going on. Of course, they have the KSI blockchain, which, as we said, isn't actually really a blockchain. According to the chief information guy at the country, really KSI, the KSI blockchain is put together by this one company. So if you would like to know which company is behind this, by the way, these guys here are also, they also run some of the infrastructure for DARPA and a lot of other guys. These guys here are... If you've ever played the video game Army of Two, this is what this company reminds me of. Army of Two is, of course, about a corporatocracy. You're playing through the game. The storyline is you're two basically special ops guys, and as special ops guys, you are you're running around and getting to the final story, which is that the top security guy is actually manufacturing war to keep himself in business. That's kind of this company here. So guard time. Give them a round of applause. Of course, these guys are arrogant. Their arrogance is going to be their downfall. Because they're sitting here, we are unhackable. Nothing of this can be hacked. This is perfectly secure. You may as well just call Anonymous on the phone now. And they'll probably demonstrate how hackable it really is. So, yeah, Lockheed Martin, Ericsson, these are kind of scary companies. They are who is behind this kind of stuff. There's the IT sector type stuff. So that is kind of what E-Estonia is doing. All right, there's all the marketing stuff. So a very well marketed company there and that's the thing. So what's kind of the take homes of this stuff? Well, what they're kind of doing and what they're trying to do is they are attempting to build a platform. In fact, they call themselves sort of a startup government. And as one person noted, as a startup government, the scary part about being called a startup government is startups, fail every day. And startups, as they fail every day, the reality is something like this has a flimsy stance. There have been hacks in their system. There was a potentially Russian DDoS attack, which effectively shut down, therefore isolated the country. They had issues with the ID cards, 700,000 of them, which is, 75% of the population's cards had a major security vulnerability. And so that's kind of what was going on with that. And so with all that being said, it's kind of a scary thing. Now, the biggest concern for me is the fact that they're putting everything into centralized databases that they're saying can't be modified or deleted. Well, what if there's an error somewhere? That's a scary thing. They are producing a system where every citizen is completely tracked. They're trying, of course, to implement it with all your social media and everything, and they're effectively building a society where all of your digital life is also part of attached to your real life. And so this raises a lot of concerns surrounding privacy. And of course, if everything is running smoothly with utmost morality and integrity, we have no problem at all. But the challenge is, of even if there's no corruption in the system now, corrupt people are going to be vying to gain power over this system, because this is a system full of things that you could co-op. And like I said earlier, the situation in China is much like this, right? The Chinese situation is, everybody has a social credit score now. Determines how worthy you are. And if you fall too low in that, you could have the court order you to issue apologies. You could be prevented from flying, from traveling, from buying property. All this stuff is happening in China right now because they have collected more data on more people than anything. This is a government setup where their entire focus is to collect every bit of data they can. And people, we must resist. Do not buy into the convenience. Do not buy into all this kind of stuff. And remember, I believe it was either Jefferson or Franklin. I forget which one. I think it was Franklin, actually, Benjamin Franklin, who said, "He who sacrifices privacy for security deserves neither privacy nor security." Okay, people, we need to keep in mind that our privacy is an important thing. And privacy comes with risk, and it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk. Okay, folks? So with that being said, let me know what you think of this society. Are you going to join the Estonia's e-resident program? Have you joined it? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Switched to Linux. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the links at the top. There is another video over here. You can check out our Patreon page down here. And you can check out shop.switchtolinux.com for information on a t-shirt like this or some other designs. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.